over to you.
Got it. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? How are you both? Good today? Middling?
So.
Bit middling? Pretty good? And energy levels. Let's have a little check-in for energy levels. Hitting the ceiling, middling, or kind of a little bit. Alison, your hands are at the middling position, but they're saying ready to go back.
Okay.
Kind of middling energy. Let's get Lenka in. Yes, my energy is certainly middling. Hello, Lenka. Welcome to the session. Welcome. My energy is certainly middling. Not sleeping very well at the moment. So always nice to get into the body when there's a bit of tiredness around. It helps a lot, I think. So we have a kind of quite a precise session, maybe. Starting to look a little bit. Hello, Lenka. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Quite a detailed session. We're going to look in some granularity at our shoulder blades today, but let me set things up a little bit before we dive into that, particularly for anybody who may be listening to recordings in the future. And Lenka, I'm sorry, I don't know, have I seen you before? Have you been in sessions before with us? No? This is your first one. Oh, really lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. So let me frame things up, particularly for Lenka, so that she has an idea of what we're doing here. So we have got half an hour of embodied learning and inquiry, very much with the agenda that David and I have ideas about things that we think it's valuable to explore, but you know your own body. So our primary value really is that you have full self-responsibility and full final say over what you get involved in and what you don't get involved with. So please listen to your own body. And if your energy is a bit low, or you feel because of physical needs you need to adjust something, then please do it. And also be in it. So if you want to get the best, then really give what we suggest a go as well, because it can be sometimes we feel a bit tired, so we don't want to do something, but actually the doing of it lifts the tiredness or shifts the mood or whatever. But do listen to your own body. And also confidentiality. So this is recorded. This session is recorded and is available to people not in this room with us today. So please be aware of that if you're sharing on mic, that what you're sharing will be heard by other people. The chat is private, so please feel free that you can express what you want to there, but also to hold the confidentiality of that chat space with one another. Okay, so apart from that, I think it's a fairly simple structure that we have, which is to dive into the body and explore it through the archetypes. Primarily, Lenka, we work with the archetypes of sovereign, of lover, of magician, and warrior. And today we're going to look at all four of them and the way they impact one part of our body, which is our shoulder blades, as I said before. It's funny, as soon as I said shoulder blades, almost everybody started remembering, oh, look, I have them. I can move them. They do things. It's incredible. And that's part of what's great about embodiment, I think, is that you start to explore your body with more kind of curiosity and awareness. And it becomes really interesting what happens. David has been doing some Feldenkrais work recently, and he often comes back from his trainings with some very interesting observations of his deeper embodied awareness. It's really cool. Okay, so I think let's go straight into the activity, and then we'll have some time to share what we experience afterwards together. So you can do this sitting. I prefer to stand, really, because I think it gives a bit more of a whole-bodied potential, because you don't know where this sensation is going on. So if you'd like to join me, please do, standing. I'm going to just keep it on the top of my body, although I might need to show Lenka my pink slippers at some point for feet position. Okay, so try and stand so I haven't got the hat, the light as a hat. So let's take a little moment to begin with in sovereign standing position. So Lenka, particularly as you haven't done this before, and it may be a reminder for the others, just standing with your feet firmly planted on the floor, about hip width apart. Let's see if I can give you a bit more of a full view. And of my legs kind of easily hip width apart, and then stacking your body up easily from your feet up to your hips, and then on and up to your shoulders, noticing how your shoulders are set, and then your head sitting easily on top. Taking a moment to feel the sense of sovereign coming into your body. It's a little moment to connect, to center. So you can imagine with sovereign that you're wearing a crown, and that crown is a symbol of divinity, of guidance, of higher purpose. And imagine the impact of that kind of coming down your body. Imagine that feeling of your king or queen within you coming down your whole body until it meets the ground. And sovereign also has a very earthy element. So as that energy, that sensation, that imagination of being a king or queen meets the ground, imagine that again, it meets a kind of support from the ground that comes back up your body as well. Maybe lengthening your spine a little bit, giving you a greater height and a lightness, but also a feeling of being grounded. Relax as much as you can down your core. So relaxing your jaw. I just realized my knees were tight, so maybe soften your knees a little bit. Relax your belly. When you're ready, take a breath. Moment of connection to honor yourself for being here, for taking some time out for your body, for your embodied awareness, for your community connection. Then if you would, let's begin with bringing that awareness to your shoulder blades. Become aware of your shoulders. I find that just becoming aware of them, they're twitching a little bit. There's a little bit of movement that wasn't there before, but you don't have to move them to be aware of them. And what we're going to do is explore how it feels in our shoulder blades when we bring in the different archetypes. So here we are standing in our sovereign pose, but bringing your awareness just to your shoulder blades. Is there anywhere in particular in your shoulder blades that you feel you're sovereign more than another bit of your shoulder blades? Doesn't matter if there's nothing. It's a gentle exploration. It's a curiosity. And we'll see if things change as we go through the other archetypes. Having noted sovereign, maybe let's move to lover. So if you bring in the archetype of the lover, the part of you that loves to connect, that gives and receives freely, lovingly, openly. Where do you feel lover in your shoulder blades? not because it's right or wrong, but my own experience is that I suddenly feel a sense of love are coming more into where my shoulder blades meet the arm, as if it's getting ready for the hug. Yours may be different. Your awareness may be completely different to that. David and I had quite different experiences when we first discussed this. And then if you'd like to bring in warrior, bring warrior into your body. Protective, active, proactive warrior. And where do you feel warrior in your shoulder blades? If anywhere different. And finally, magician. Lightness, the creativity, the intuitive awareness, the learning of the magician within you. If you bring magician into your body, where do you feel magician in your shoulder blades? Notice Greta moving her arms up, and I do too. I feel that movement upwards. And it's just interesting to notice. Okay, so if you'd like to just for a moment come back and let me know very briefly if you are aware of any differences. If anybody would like to unmute and share, or if you'd like to share in the chat, what did you notice in that, if anything? Alison.
Yeah, it is very subtle, because it's when you think of shoulder blades, it's like you've got shoulders, but then you've got your shoulder blades at the back. So I was aware of front and back of body, and particularly with sovereign, I felt more connected with almost like my heart going up to my shoulders, and a sense of really holding and dignity. Whereas lover, there was more some softening coming in, and like you were saying about the feeling of the arms, and it came more from the back, the center of the back, between the shoulder blades. And warrior was strong. I could feel the strong connection with arms, and the lightness of magician, and the flight, almost like wings. I've got sort of wing-like, we've got flying wings, our shoulder blades. So thank you. It was interesting.
I tell you what's really interesting about that. David and I both had wings with, was it with magician? It was with magician, wasn't it? When we first talked about this. Greta, you're nodding. Did you have that experience as well? Beautiful. Okay, just to check in, because I want to move into something else now, but did all of you, if you put your hands up, did you all notice a difference? Yes? Lenka? Okay, great. Okay, so David, lover, inner edge, close to spine, warrior, outer edge, as if my arms were activating. Nice. Magician, inside surface, as if they're floating. Sovereign, the whole shoulder blades. We love that sense of wholeness with sovereign, because sovereign for us is that representation of all the archetypes coming together to create and support you in your wholeness. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to explore some of those aspects of each of those, some of the actions that are associated with each of the archetypes, and how we express that through our movements. And to notice really if there's a kind of a stronger movement or a lesser movement when you go into the different archetypes. So is it like an over movement or an under movement as you do the things that we're connecting with the archetypes? So I'm not sure that I can explain it well, so let's experience it, and then we can discuss anything that you notice afterwards. Okay?
That maybe awareness of the shoulder blades changes the quality of the movement, or the quality of your experience of it, might be another way of saying it.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Okay, so let's stand again if you'd like to. All right, so we're going to begin going to begin once again with sovereign. Always a good start. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to end with sovereign. Let's begin with lover. So for lover, I want to suggest as a representation of lover that self-care pose. And noticing where you go to in your self-care. Like, how does it feel coming from your shoulder blades into this self-care pose? And take a moment to notice the feelings in your shoulder blades. And we're looking in a granular way here. So self-care gives you some sense of, is this familiar or is this unfamiliar? But in particular, thinking of your shoulders, like I've gone too far. I'm trying to get too far around myself. So my shoulders are actually feeling too stressed now. And it's going to help me to bring it back to a more like this. This works better for me. You know, I'm quite a large size. So if I try and hug myself, it's quite a lot of me to get round. So can you notice anything like that in yourself, that either your move towards self-care is a little bit under supportive of yourself, or is it a bit over, like I've got to really go for the love, I've got to show that I can love myself? Simply some observations, and then from your shoulders and bringing that awareness maybe of lover in your shoulders, where is your point of unique, sublime self-care, self-love that holds your shoulders in balance, easy? And how does it feel to give yourself that version that really works for you? It might not be what anybody else does, but this is your version of self-care, self-love. And any other adjustments you need to make. Suddenly realized my hands were clinging a bit, and it helps me to soften them a bit. Maybe with your breath. And then when you're ready, let it go. And we're going to move on to warrior. And for warrior, we're going to give ourselves a bit of no pose. So here you are, bringing warrior into your body, and warrior says no. Just with the hand for now, we don't need to do the whole. So notice how have you gone into no here? From the perspective of your shoulder blade. I've done it again. I've gone too far. Oh, what a surprise that is. And I can actually soften it a bit and still have a strong no. What's your experience of no in your body? Where does it support your that kind of sense of real balance and in your own body, in your own shoulder blades, to have your no? Do you feel there's a right way to do no and that you've got to do that? Or can you do it in a way that works for you? And again, like changing hands is one of those ways. And what changes if you go a bit further, or if you go a bit more gentle? And again, letting that go. And when you're ready, we're going to bring in magician. And with magician, a general sense of lightness, bringing in that sense of upward movement, any way you want to show it or feel it, express it. Can be in your toes a little bit, but in particular with your arms and your shoulder blades. if you're bringing in the lightness of magician, that almost that feeling of inspiration coming in from on high. And once again, notice that from the perspective of your body and your being, your tendency to go, yes, I can go up into the heavens and force it maybe a little bit. Is it a bit half-hearted of like, well, you know, up a little bit will do. So can you maybe just bring it a bit more or a bit less so that it really works for you uniquely, for your body, for your sense of your magician, your shoulder blades. And how does it feel to make that yours? And then when you're ready, let it go. And again, yes, well done making those adjustments for yourselves, moving your arms, really important. And finally, we're going to bring ourselves back to sovereign and that feeling of the responsibility of sovereign. So once again, letting your feet feel planted on the ground. That posture coming up, your hips, your shoulders in line. And with sovereign, we're going to bring in that idea of responsibility. And however your body wants to reflect responsibility. I feel a general kind of moving out of my hands, but it might just be internal. There might not be movement with this for you. And how does it feel to let that come from your shoulder blades and allowing them to be in an optimum position for you, to bring self-responsibility and responsibility into your own way of being. Maybe while you're here, take a moment to make a choice about something that you're going to choose to be responsible for today. It might be self-care, or it might be lightness, or it might be saying no, or it might be something else. And then when you're ready, let's come back to the screen. Okay, so if anybody would like to share, you're all welcome to type in the chat if you prefer not to speak. We'd love to hear what you've got to say anyway. But if you would like to unmute and share your observations or any awareness that you got, we'd love to hear it as well. Alison, you've unmuted again, yeah?
I have, I'm waiting because I feel I don't want to just rush in.
Let me check, does anybody else want to share out loud? We've got a bit of time. You go for it, Alison.
Okay. If that was really great, I enjoyed that very much. I realise I'm connected. My shoulders are part of, and I can sense the feeling of coming up from the core and the shoulders coming out. And I want to go to sovereign at the end, actually, because it was such a lovely experience of balance. Because I have in the past had a tendency to feel the heavy weight on my shoulders of responsibility. And I do have lots of stuff to do. But it felt a lovely, I think because of going through all the other processes and starting with Lover, and I could really feel the connection with the heart going up to the shoulders, front and back. and the enjoyment of sort of shifting in movement. The no was interesting. Actually, what you were saying about too much and too little, like you, I kind of almost like too much. But the no, I think it's just doing Tai Chi for so long, the push, you know, I got so used to doing the pushing and not overextending that it felt very comfortable. So it was a gradual easing until I found the lovely lightness of magician, which is just something so, I don't know how to say it. It's inspiring. Magician, I love magician. Coming back to sovereign was a very nice journey in my body, and I feel balance. Thank you.
Beautiful, Alison.
I was surprised. I was surprised by that.
I just love what you said as well about the no in your Tai Chi, because that's like embodied awareness. That's something you do a lot. So therefore your body has a natural memory of how not to overextend. And maybe that connection with no as well is just a really useful one for that Tai Chi gentleness in it.
I felt the energy. Yes, I felt the energy coming out from the center of my palms too. That was interesting.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. So we got from Greta, sovereign, feel like I need to take more responsibility for myself. I do more for others and forget myself. Yes. Put yourself up there. Go for it. Lovely. And David's quality of self-care was lovely, really emotional, and the boundary of warrior felt more solid and determined. That's beautiful. And Lenka, I just want to invite you if you'd like to share anything that we'd love to hear from you, but there's no obligation at all. Yeah, great.
I still more processing to like see really how to describe it. So I'm trying not to go to rational because it's always my. So trying to more sit in with what's happening in the body.
Perfect. Yeah, very good plan. Beautiful, everybody. Thank you, David. You're unmuted. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, the thing that Greta was saying, Alison was saying about sovereign and the responsibility, and like one of the turning points for me with sovereign was this feeling of if I stack my body up right, heels to hips to shoulders, it doesn't really matter how much weight of responsibility there is, because however much weight there is going down, the ground, if I'm connected to the ground, if I feel the ground's always going to push back up. So it's like the more weight there is, the lighter I feel. There's that. So it's kind of like a paradox in a way. But I've really noticed as I've played with that over the years now, that works for me really, really well. So when I'm feeling the weight of things, I just have to really be conscious of my posture, and it just actually makes that responsibility lighter and much easier to bear. Just echoing, I think, what Alison was saying.
Yeah, lovely, David. Yeah, it's great. Sovereign rocks in life. So thank you very much for sharing our time with us, everybody. It's been really great. Really enjoyed that exploration. Really nice going in and really getting kind of a bit detailed about our embodied awareness. I've really enjoyed it. So we're going to complete now. David, have we got any announcements about how things are moving forwards, or are we carrying on as normal and then we'll talk about that next week? Because
we've run out of time a little bit, so I think take a bit of time to explain what's going on.
Okay, cool. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to unmute and say goodbye in any way you prefer for today. Lovely to have you back, Greta. Thank you for your inspiration also. And we'll get on with our days. Thanks, everybody. You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hearts all round.